Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. Obviously, after you hear what I have to say right now, you might say to yourself that I'm shooting myself in the leg, because I'm going to be speaking about the importance of studying Torah, which there is nothing more important than studying Torah. But I see in Sfarim, in today's days, there is a discussion if a person has a choice to either participate in a shiur online or go to a shul or yeshiva or a local synagogue gathering where it will be in a live shiur, not online, not on the internet. Is there is there any halachic view or any reason that one is better than the other? Is there any reason why perhaps you should go to the yeshiva shiur, to the shul shiur, or anything better in the internet shiur? You know, you might say there is the pros and cons in each. What could you find in the halacha? What halacha would say? So I'm going to tell you what I find people saying, and perhaps you could challenge it. Some of the poskim, I find some people write that they try to say that based on the Mishnah Berurah in Siman Kuf Nun Hey. The Orach Chaim says in Siman Kuf Nun Hey, obviously in the Shulchan Aruch it says that right after davening, based on the pasuk of Yeilchu Meichayil El Choyu, Yeirah Elikim B'Tzion, that you go from strength to strength. So right after davening, the Shulchan Aruch suggests and commands that you should go straight from davening to learn something. So you go from Chayil El Choyu. Don't go rushing straight out to work. From davening, from tefillah to Torah. So the Shulchan Aruch, the Biur Halacha, the Mishnah Berurah says that even though there is many ways to learn, you can learn b'yechidus, privately. It is beneficial if you actually learn b'chabura. You learn in a group, because there is many benefits when you don't learn. Obviously, learning by yourself, you might have its advantages, but the Mishnah Berurah in Biur Halacha Siman Kuf Nun Hey gives perhaps 4 pluses. What might be what a person gains when he studies b'chabura. Number 1, he says, there is the concept of roiv am. If you go from shul home, if you finish davening, you go home, even if you're going to sit down in your house and learn for yourself, and you're not going to yeshiva, you're going yourself to learn chitas or Rambam, whatever it is, not being in the crowd, you're lacking in the roiv am. The roiv am means in the crowd. And the crowd glorifies the mitzvah. Which mitzvah? Glorifies the mitzvah of the study of Torah. So that is one thing that's missing when you're not in the surrounding of people learning Torah. The second thing he suggests, he says that, yes, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says that every time somebody studies Torah, it says that Hashem is, every time somebody studies Torah, the Shechina is there, right? Shechina imay, the Shechina rests there. But the difference is, that is when you study yourself, the Shechina is imay. It says in Svarim that when you study with a group, not only Shechina imay, but it's nichtav b'sefer hazikaron shel Hashem. Everything that you do when you study in a group, it's actually documented in Hashem's sefer zikaron. So there is a plus in a benefit in learning with a group. You remember more, and you get greater reward by learning with a chabura. Chazal say, "Ein haTorah niknes ela b'chabura." One of the ways you acquire Torah is by learning in a group. And the last thing the Mishnah Berurah says, that in general there is a concept of te'elas ruchnius, a spiritual concept of wherever Yidden are, there is a community, there is a gathering of Yidden, a community thing of learning. Not individual people. So therefore, there should be a movement of groups, of chaburas, and not finish davening, learn for yourself. So based on this, I see somebody trying to say, these items might be lacking on the internet. So if somebody would have a choice, should he hear a shiur on the internet, or should he go to yeshiva and listen to learn b'chabura? So Rav Am, he might not have, because in the yeshiva there'll be a lot of people learning. Well, I don't know, because I'm not so certain that in sitting in a shiur simultaneously, you have to because there are many shiurim that could be simultaneous. If you're listening to old shiur, fine. But today's days, you could be sitting simultaneous at the same time, 100,000 people listening to the same Maggid shiur, listening to the same shiur, Chol Chatzvei Tevel. That could also be considered Rav Am. And it's taking over literally the whole world. Wouldn't that be considered Chabura and Rav Am? I don't know if that's not. But then they bring a technical question. They say, we are not so sure that a person's concentration in his home will work as great as his concentration in yeshiva. When a person goes to shul, the atmosphere in the shul, around in the yeshiva is a Torah atmosphere, is a studying atmosphere, so it'll drive him to learn. If he goes home and he locks himself in the room, by his computer, who says, so I can't tell you for sure that's correct either. That's something that it will depend on each individual. So this question is a good question. What the choices should be. If a person has a option, should I join a global live shiur where hundreds of thousands of people are listening simultaneous to a shiur of Fabrengen? Simultaneous. So you have the Rav Am, you have the Chabura. Or go to a yeshiva and you have the atmosphere at the same time. I don't know for sure if this is correct, that one is better over the other.